Well, I feel stupid now. I went to the wrong one and was sitting there. I'm just like, where is he? Oh, okay. Okay. Oh. Legend of Akisoba.
Oh hey, what's up? Hello?
Yo!
What's up?
Nothing much. I had my mic muted.
Alright. Alright. So just getting ready. Just getting ready. I have everything ready except for the important piece, the player's handbook.
Oh. You know, the most important piece that you need. Okay, and I can't spell Twitch to save my life. That's good. Maybe I am having a stroke. I came home and smelt noodles, and my first response was, "Am I having a stroke?" It turns out it was just my brother's girlfriend was making ramen before I got home, and I was just like, "But you could like smell it, like you could smell the ramen noodles." I'm just like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Which is kind of funny. I thought that when you have a stroke, it's normally the normal response is like either you taste peanut butter or you taste toast.
Yeah, but see, that's for normal people. I'm very clearly not in that.
Yeah.
Maker Plier is watching your video. Good old Maker Plier.
What?
What's up, everybody? Maker Plier here.
Maker Plier.
Yeah.
Hey, for all you know, that could be on Markiplier's on a dummy account or something.
Oh, you wish. I'm following him for that. That's amazing. I love that name.
Also, I realized though I have everything. Hold on. Maybe this will work actually. If I do this and boop,
Ink the stink.
and did it work?
Final Fantasy VI is on Steam.
Yep.
No, I don't see anything. I mean, it's gonna take a while on my
I know. Hold on. Well, I also have some lo-fi chilled beats on playing in the background.
Oh, I don't have volume on. So.
Well, on my stream, not on Roll20 and everything.
Oh, I know that. I'm just saying. I don't have sound enabled.
But should I keep that, or should I like
Why can't I refresh? Hold on. There we go.
And shoot.
That's weird. Usually that allows me to refresh. Why is there just... This list is up to date. No, it's not.
Yeah.
You'll have to wait a few... When did they implement this? I used to be able to refresh who was the users in chat. This is bupkis.
Yeah, should I like keep the lo-fi beats, or put something more D&D like on using some Kevin MacLeod music?
Hold up. Let me hear what it sounds like. I mean, that's up to you. Those are chill. So I mean,
Yeah, well, these are
this is like a chill stream.
It's literally lo-fi chill beats, 12 hours of DMCA free and copyright free music for Twitch streamers, 2021.
Jeez Louise. But this is 2022. When are they gonna update it to have 4 more songs for $2?
Lo-fi no copyright mix 2022. Aesthetic music and lo-fi beats to relax study to. Yeah, I'll keep this on. I'll put the volume a little low. Hey Amber, how's the volume on your end? Good. Music good. Okay then. Alright then, so let's... Oh, no! Alright then, so let's get this started, shall we? I think I'll... Okay then, get my things ready, and boop, welcome to the tutorial. And alright then, so let's get this started, shall we? I was planning to also make some points of interest of what I should cover. Well, anyway, so
I
like
completely forgot to.
yeah. Well, I'm making all of this though. Like, I forgot that making the overlays and setting everything up on my end on OBS is very time consuming, even though it's last minute. Okay, so from what I can from memory, so like right. So first and foremost, let's also introduce you to your character sheet, which you'll see. So it's right here in the corner right here on my screen, but you can also see it. Here's a little close up view of it. Boop. Now it's currently blank right now. Just don't get a little too ahead of yourself. We'll navigate you on everything, but we already created for you a example on how to navigate that character sheet, and also basic character can create your character in the first place. But we'll fully create your character once everything's done. Actually, after we introduce races and classes, also feats and goddamn feats, and also backstories and the like. But nitty gritty, how to navigate your character sheet. First and foremost is creating your character. What kind of character do you like to create? Again, for this example, we're creating hold on, text. Where's the text? Freehand? Oh, here you go. Text. For this example, though, our character that we are creating, as an example, to navigate the character sheet, though, will be a why is it like this? Why?
What's happening?
Okay, so it'll be a human, a human fighter, sub-arch type champion. I don't know why it's like this. So anyway, this is what we're creating, using the example right here in this character sheet. So first and foremost, let's go and fill that up for a minute. So as for funsies, so and again, this is Roll20, and so everything here is basically filled in for you. But thanks to Roll20's thanks to Roll20's system. Just on
you say that now, but then once we get into actual dice rolling,
yeah. Well, I'm saying
a little different
it's thanks to Roll20 system though. Every math is done for you. Dice wise, it's arguably so let's go with fighter subclass champion, and there we go. You're level 1. Oh, whoa! Where does she go? There we go. And so back to it. Oh, why are you like this? Stop it. There we go. Stop it though. And there are that stupid. You can tell I love this program, right? I love it very much.
That's usually why I do all of my stuff beforehand and then input everything.
Shush you. Anyway, so anyway, there are 3 implements on how so the most important thing you have to worry about are your stats. Basically, right here, you have here your strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And how you build your character, depending on your preferred playstyle. So, like, say, I mean, I joke about this though, Edward, but there is a build for a strength-based monk.
Well, yeah, I already knew that.
It's just that in my logical mind is like, you can make it, but you lose out on armor unless you go with a monk that's all about wearing heavy armor. Is that a thing?
Maybe. I mean, you lose out on stuff when you wear the armor, so
right.
I think you lose out on the ability to run on water if you have it.
Yeah, so
don't quote me on that.
Okay, so for a quick minute though, imagine we're not making a human fighter champion, and depending on what your playstyle is, depending on where your stats gotta be pulled to. So for examples of the strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, we'll look towards the very noble and very easy to know tomato. So your strength score, that depends on how much you want to how much you can squeeze your tomato. The dexterity score is how much you can dodge, how much you can dodge a tomato. Your constitution score basically is how much you can stand eating a bad tomato. Your intelligence score basically then tells you, oh, the tomato botanically is actually a vegetable. The wisdom score, the tomato botanically is actually a fruit. That's intelligence, because you have the intelligence of knowing that it's actually a fruit, not a vegetable. The wisdom score basically tells, and here's where everyone gets confused, being like, oh, intelligence and wisdom is usually the same thing. It's not. The wisdom score is more like street smarts. Well, intelligence is like book smarts. That tracks, right, Ed?
Sort of. Yeah, that is about it.
Yeah, so the wisdom score is basically you're wise to know that, oh, even though it's a fruit, you shouldn't make a tomato-based fruit salad. And finally, charisma is basically your attractiveness to try and convince someone to buy a tomato-based fruit salad.
Ugh. I don't know how to feel about this last part.
Like, wait a minute, isn't a tomato-based fruit salad just salsa?
They wouldn't know that. Most of the villagers have a low intelligence.
That's true.
That seems like a specialty type of intelligence. That's
So,
like 11 and
so
higher.
basically, to summarize, it's squish, dodge, survive poison, your book smarts, street smarts, and your face. Well, for a lack of better term.
Your face, really?
Shush. All right. So so with the example in mind, there are 3 ways to roll your stats. They'll basically make the backbone of your character itself. It's either we A, go with the default stats, which according to the player's handbook.
Wait, default stats are the array, right?
Yep. I'm gonna write down right here as well. Text. There you are. Which the default stats are. Should be here somewhere. Again, I should have prepared this. I didn't say I was the best teacher in the world. So yeah, using the default stats of 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. It's basically using those default stats to create any character you want at the very beginning of your basic campaign.
Yeah, that's the. I think I've heard of it referred to as the array.
Yeah.
In some videos. Yeah.
The other option would be
rolling method,
is basically the rolling method. Basically, what you do is no, actually, the other optional is the pull system.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there's also the roll system that's tend to use. That's the one that I was introduced to. So.
Yeah, well, the roll system is actually in the more fun way, and arguably the more fun way. But the pull system is apparently because that's the one that's used the least. But apparently it's more geared towards on a player DM project when it comes to role playing and telling an overall story, because it's also the easiest way to actually balance all the characters. Like, say if one character is shining above the others, you can try and balance them so they'll match the pace. Because if the story is more on the party rather than just one person playing, then you can balance here or there. Of course, talk to your players before if they're okay with it. Which, you know, at the start of the game, you want to do it that way for your campaign, especially if you're doing it on Twitch. And then yeah, because most of the Twitch and D&D and podcasts are like the Unexpectables, Prince Division. There's also Critical Role with Vox Machina and the Mighty Number 9 and whatever their current one is.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot they just started the new season.
Yeah, and those kinds of projects though would benefit from the pull system, but so that way you can balance either nerf or buff on the fly. I wish they would tell me on how to do it. That's the standard array. Let's see. Oh, here you go. Basically, in the pool system, you have a pool of 27 points to spend on your ability scores. Each cost score is shown in the ability score point table. Okay, so basically, your pool starts all. Okay, let's get the screen up. Basically, your entire pool from strength to charisma, they all start at 8, and you use up points. You have 27 total at level 1 to try and buy and make your array more matched. So, from 9 to 15, the point cost will go up. So you want to make your score at 9, it will cost you 1 point. 10, it will cost you 2 points. 11 costs you 3 points, etc., etc. Until 15, it will cost you 9 points to make that score into 15. And from there, you can spend your points on hither or wither. You can make it balanced if you want. You can make it on. You can make it focus on one stat as you want, which some players actually would do, because if you're picking a barbarian, it's the whole thing is like, oh, he's big and strong, but he also has low intelligence because he's all he knows is just smashing stuff. Or if making a nerdy ass wizard, like high intelligence, maybe low constitution and very low strength.
Oh, you forgot to mention, the stats are split between 3 different things. So 3 of the stats are physical attributes, and 3 of the stats are more mental attributes. So your strength, dexterity, and constitution are all technically physically based, and then your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma are all mental based.
Yeah.
And that's usually shown easier in like other systems, like
but
the storyteller system.
Yeah, but I remember
like that.
I don't usually like to say that because of the fact that classification of physical and mental is not really cut and dry when it comes to the classes and the casters.
Oh yeah, no, they don't really they don't use it like that ever. I'm just saying that.
I know, because that's why I don't really mention it, because the fact that seeing a paladin to be a mental caster is like, no, they're not.
I'm not saying that it's a mental caster. I'm just saying it's a mental attribute. Despite the fact that people tend to play charisma as a more physical thing, like, oh, I'm really beautiful because I have a 20 in charisma. It's not the case. You can be an ugly person and be very charismatic, trust me. There's people out in the world that look like they've been beaten with the ugly tree, who are constantly surrounded by people just adoring them because they know what to say.
A good example would be the grizzled paladin who sees some shit, where like he's very rough. He very, and plus the charisma can be actually on a spectrum of being beautiful or intimidating. Because just because you have high charisma, that doesn't mean you're beautiful. It can be like, you're very intimidating. You scare people. A good example of that will be I'm going back in the loop again. The grizzled old paladin who's seen some shit, and where there's the phrase, always fear the person in a profession that has a high mortality rate. That kind of example. And like, so he can be grizzled. He's like very intimidating. He'll scare people who don't know him. He'll scare children who don't know him. But overall, he has a harder goal for people who do know him. And so, getting back to it, the last way to roll is arguably the preferred way for most of the community is rolling your dice. Let fate tell you how bad or good your character are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good, Gravin.
Yeah. Also, with the dice system, there's 2 different ways of doing it. Normally, people will. I think the most common way for people that use dice is the way that I was taught, because it's an easier system to use, which is just you roll the numbers and then just assign them to the stats that you want. But I think the one that I know of that a lot of people have talked about that I know of is just rolling them specifically in order, which gives you a more like luck-based, like, oh, I want to be a warrior. Unfortunately, I've only rolled strength up to 10. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna look at the book and be like, "That's bullshit."
No, I'm actually not saying though if 5e actually made that easier, because I thought the whole like rolling your dice and assigning the points to wherever you want was a 5e thing.
Is it?
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, because I started playing Dungeons and Dragons. My first foray into Dungeons and Dragons was in college, when I was still actually going to college. And the guy that we were playing with had his own like homebrew world. He wanted to like package and sell it essentially, but it basically used. Roy says it's the 4E system, but I feel like it's more of the 3.5 system, because I think we played Pathfinder. I forget which edition of Pathfinder, but the character sheet was very similar to the one that our DM from my first one actually gave us. So I felt like that it might have actually been 3.5 that he was using.
Oh, okay. So it is a 5e thing. Basically, it says here, you generate your character's 6 ability scores randomly, roll 4 6-sided dice, and record the total of the highest 3 dice. Piece of scratch paper. Do this 5 more times so you have 6 numbers. If you want to save time or don't like the idea of randomly determining your ability scores, you can use the following numbers, which are the generic I put on the screen. And it says here, now take those 6 numbers and write each number besides one of your character's 6 abilities. So yeah, and it wasn't a 5e thing. So if a 3.5 is where like you were forced to roll for each stat, and I guess 5e made it so like, oh, here's 6 numbers, assign them to how you want.
Why did that stop there?
All right, so again, with that in mind, for this example, we're creating let's do this together. Edward, how should we create our fighter champion, Human? With the array we have here, I'm guessing.
My quality on Twitch has dropped significantly. I can't see the numbers. There we go. Well.
He's
normally when you think fighter, you would go strength, but Constitution plays a big part in, well, plays a big part in most characters.
Yeah, no, for the exact example on character creation, though, we're using the center array right here.
Yeah. Yeah. So pretty much, if I was going to create a human fighter, I made a halfling fighter that one time.
Yeah.
But strength definitely plays a key component, and then I'd probably put points into. My second one would probably be Constitution.
Oh yeah, because not human fighters and again, well, fighters in general, they always tend to always favor the armor, sword, and board.
Yep.
So with that intent, so like strength for bashing people, so 15. Boom, and then Constitution, 14. Boom and boom.
Oh, Dip, I just realized you're doing something real fancy right now with the stream.
Yeah. That's why it took a while for me to set up.
Oh, shit, that's awesome. Alright.
And let's see, so, you would say he not very smart, right? When it comes to, like,
yeah. I think for most people, intelligence or wisdom is the dump stat normally, isn't it?
So another colloquial term within the community is called a dump stat. Normally, the intelligence is a dump stat if you're not planning to use it. So the paladins, the fighters, unless you use magic.
Yeah, like Eldritch Knight.
The rogues. As well, again, unless you use magic.
Yeah.
In fact, in D&D overall, or Pathfinder, or whatever tabletop you want to do, unless you use magic, you won't be using intelligence. Unless you want to have a interesting backstory of having, mid to high intelligence as someone who goes sword and board.
Playing a fighter that tends to deal with magical beings. Because that raises, intelligence, Arcana's based off intelligence, right?
Oh yeah.
Because that's what tells you stuff about magic.
Yeah, but again, as of right now, we're going with the stats. We'll go with the abilities later. As of right now, he's pretty average. So average fighter. So a total dump stat. So 8.
Big ol' 8. That's a negative.
-1. And don't be scared of the -1 modifiers. And you can make them balance out if you so want to in the future as you level up. But for now, this is just level 1. And so we have 13, 12, and 10 left. So would Human be very charismatic, or very wise, or very dexterous?
Well, I think that's dependent, because we already got our main stat, so if you want to use ranged-based attacks, you would probably prioritize dexterity. That's also good for your, I keep forgetting about this, but it's also good for your armor class.
Your armor class, which will come...
You're not gonna get a heavy armor right off the bat normally.
Normally.
If you're playing a long game. So dexterity will play a big role in your armor, because medium armors have a tendency to add a certain percentage of your dexterity modifier into it, as opposed to heavy armor.
Unless you are
a standard number. Sorry.
Yeah. Unless you are planning to make a heavy tank on outright, so you want to prepare for that. So, so basically, it depends on if you're willing to be on a more of a dexterous fighter, because a lot of times that we're going to be a dexterous fighter, saying you want to dual wield swords or daggers, then yeah, you should go with dexterity. As a lot of the weapons, though, like daggers, rapiers, daggers and rapiers, they have the what's known as the versatile trait, which means you can use both dexterity and strength. While long swords,
dexterity or strength.
Yeah, dexterity or strength. While long swords, short swords, great swords, and maces and all that all use strength regardless. So fighters, again, they tend to value strength, but dexterity is a good second. If you're not... sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and as mentioned, it also has to do with ranged weapons, so anything that you throw, or a bow and arrow, usually goes off a dex.
Alright, so assuming Human is basically, for lack of a better term, a magicless Geralt. Basically, he's not planning to use bow, or in the future, he's planning to use only his sword and shield.
That just leaves wisdom and charisma then.
Yeah.
Well, let's make Human the stock standard brave warrior type. Is very not very charismatic, but he can be charismatic. So I would go with charisma if that were the case.
All right, that's 13. Bam!
Charismatic, but a little bad at reading people, I would say.
All right. And say so that's 12 and 10. So, okay. Is he more dexterous or is he more wise?
Let's go with dexterous.
Alright then. 12 it is. Bam! And then finally 10. Oh, wisdom. He's not very wise, but he's not stupid either.
He's very normal. He's not... He can't look at someone and pick off their weaknesses and then use his charisma to that advantage, but... He can pick up a bow and use it all right, and he can get lucky with it by throwing a knife every once in a while.
And again, we'll touch up on races later, but for now, since he's a human, and for easiest sake, though, I'm going with the regular human and not very human.
That's fair.
So regular human, he gets a stat boost in every single stat line. Again, on example, since he's a human fighter. So this 15, because he's a human, is now 16. And etc. And etc. Etc. You get the idea.
Again, since we're not touching on skills just yet, but the attributes, all the modifiers do come into play in skills.
And again, since we're on Rule 20, all the math is being done for you, so huzzah! And with that, and let's also touch up on just ever so briefly on background. So, anything we should know about background? What should we give him? Like, I mean, the standard fighter will be folk hero.
Yeah, I think for simplicity's sake, folk hero would work out for him. He's kind of known in his from the town with which he hails. Here in Duckburg.
Where the hell? Okay, so I'm again navigating my player's handbook. The backgrounds are like way before spells, right?
Pardon? It's been a while since I've touched the handbook. I'm not 100% certain on that.
Fine. I have to navigate to the table of contents then.
Naval contents. You could also just use the internet.
Well, that should be all of it. Combat, adventuring. Oh, here we go.
Right?
125. Page 125 of the Player's Handbook.
Oof. But you can also filter too.
Charlatan,
That's cool.
criminal, entertainer, guild artisan, blah blah blah, noble. Is folk hero not in the Player's Handbook?
It should be, shouldn't it? I feel like that's a stock standard one. Why would they not have that?
There's soldier and there's urchin. Yeah, it's not here. What the hell?
It should be page 1.
Oh, here it is, folk hero. So with folk hero, nothing anything about that. So this is Ed right there, folk hero. Well, that just gives you basically skill proficiencies. Again, we'll touch them later. All right, so there you go. You have your base stats of strength to charisma, and so because of a human fighter, we'll make him to a champion later. So basically, he has a strength of 3, a strength modifier of 3, and the modifiers are basically it goes off of the table on your player's handbook. So anything below 10 will have a negative modifier. Anything above 10 will have a positive. So
with 10 being the 0, of course.
Yeah. Well, so basically it goes in twos. So on like for example 12 and 13 will give you a +1 modifier. 14 and 15 will +2 modifier, and so on. Which the highest you ever roll will be an 18. That'll be a +4 modifier.
Which, again, going, later on, there are ways to bump it up, and 20 is the maximum, which will give you a total of 5.
Actually, there is a table that goes up to 30.
Yes, but we're going off of basic stuff.
I know. Again, if you're somehow level 20, and you got so good that God's grace you with a 30 in your score.
Like, the only other way to do that normally would be with magic items, but they're like super rare. Actually, I don't know how much the belt of giant strength, I think.
I forgot.
It's like a 5 to your strength or something like that.
Is it a 5 or I thought it makes your strength 20.
Does it make your strength 20? I always forget. I know there's an item.
We'll look it up. We'll look it up later. So, and that's basically, that's basically your starting stats. Here's Human, the human fighter, and his stats. Great. And let's also now navigate towards. Again, we're character creation. We're also navigating a bit of a bit of the character sheet itself, so you won't feel too overburdened with all these numbers and what these words are. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna go take a shot to calm my nerves.
Okay. We said we were gonna look this up later, but there's varying ones of Belt of Giant Strength for each Giants, apparently. And each one gives you a different one, with Storm Giants, I think, being the strongest. Yeah. Well, it changes your strength score to 29.
Well, obviously, the Storm Giants are basically in all of D&D have been T-posing on all the Giants, with Hill Giants being on the bottom of the totem pole. I gotta say that the vodka you gave me for Christmas is actually very good.
Thank you. I thought I just got it because it looked cool.
Well,
Japanese import vodka, and then it just has a kabuki face on it. It's like, I think you like this.
I mean, it's vodka. So vodka I really like. And plus on, I do have some Jill babies enough for us to share if we had to plan to hang out in person in IRL.
Yeah, I was gonna say yesterday, but then it was like I thought about it. I'm like, Jared probably has work till 10, so that probably wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna say today, but then you were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do a stream. It's like, oh shit. All right.
All right. And so anyway. Let's go with we're navigating with we're navigating the character sheet. So how about let's touch up on the skills, right? The skills right here. You're seeing two mouse pointers. Ignore that, please. The skills right here. So you have I'll read off from top to bottom. We have Acrobatics, Animal Handling, Arcana, Athletics, Deception, History, Insight, Intimidation, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Perception, Performance, Persuasion, Religion, Sleight of Hand, Stealth, and Survival. And 5e makes this a little bit easier by citing in quotation marks what these stats equate to in your what these abilities equate to in your stats. For example, Acrobatics is Dexterity, Animal Handling is Charisma, Arcana is Intelligence, etc., etc. Yes, Edward?
Oh, I was gonna mention really quietly that it's those are parentheses.
What did I say?
Quotations.
Oh, my bad.
You could just edit that out in post.
I can't. I can't. I immediately export it to YouTube.
Oh. Oh well. It's out there.
Oh well. Well, anyway, so these are basically your stats that you roll, and you can modify on the fly on what you're proficient in. Which proficiency bonuses at level 1 you start at 2, but as you level up, and your proficiency bonus actually goes up as well. So from levels 1 to 4 it's 2, 3 to 8 it's 3. No, I'm sorry, 5 to 8 it's 3. 9 to 12 is 4. 13 to 16 is 5. And then finally, 17 to 20 is 6. But most campaigns don't usually last until 20.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and basically, what the proficiency bonus is, though, is like you basically add a +2 to what you're proficient in. Like, take for example, on a fighter is proficient in strength, for example, a fighter is a proficiency in a strength saving throw and a con saving throw. So they add +2 to your 3 modifier, and bam, +5.
Which also should mention that when you are picking your class, it will be in the almost said the employee handbook, the player's handbook, what your class is specifically.
Proficient in.
It's further modified by like occasional backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll touch on that later. So basically, on a fighter's instance, their saving throw they're proficient in is both strength and constitution, because they tend to be on the front line, and they tend to try to shirk off any poisons or any some big guy trying to grapple them, and a good distinction between saving throws and also ability saving throws and ability checks. For example, a dexterity check is you're trying to do something very dexterous and, like, say, throw a knife at a fly across the room. While an ability saving throw is that somehow that same fly happens to be some sort of weird druid, and he throws the knife back at you.
That would be horrifying.
There are bug druids, you know.
I know, but the way you made it sounded like he shapeshifted into a fly, and as the dagger flew at him, he went, "No, you!" grabbed it with his tiny fly hand, stopped it midair, and flipped it back at him. That sounds horrifying.
Immediately, I thought that too, but the thing is that my mind became normal, and where the fly shifted back into the druid and somehow caught the knife and threw it back. Okay.
Gosh. No, I like mine better. It's more scary.
Well, yeah. So again, a check basically means on how good your person is doing that check, whether it be strength, dexterity, or charisma. While a saving throw is that you're trying to save yourself from that same scenario, whether it be like a curse or someone grappling you, or you're trying to avoid a boulder heading towards your way.
I honestly thought you said a boulder heading towards your wife. That would be her saving throw, not yours.
All right. So anyway, yeah, as proficiency bonus still augments that though when it comes to your saving throws and also your skills. And so, since he's a folk hero, I was just there. God damn it! Since he's a folk hero, he is immediately proficient with both animal handling, boom, +2, and survival, boom, +2. And that checkmark means that they're proficient in that. And through various role plays, spending your money and talking with your DM, you can actually increase that to be proficient, and then it'll be, I believe, what's the word for it? Because there's a way to actually increase your proficiency bonus besides leveling up.
Is there? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's called mastering or something. There's
certain class features and/or feats that also double a specific type of proficiency as well. So remember that in your game. That's what happened to my my tiefling paladin. They were like, "What are your +6 in intimidation?" My barbed hides. Oh God, that's right. I forgot about that. Ooh. That 4-part one shot.
the 4-part shot.
Oh my God, that was horrifying. I am not good.
But anyway, I forgot. It's expertise. Expertise is the word for it.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, it rarely comes up. Again, it's mainly talk to your DM about it, and the only times it actually comes up though is with rogues and bards, because they have actual skills in their tool belt that actually gives them expertise.
Yep. So always figure out what character class you want to play first.
Again, this is an example. We're using Human as an example to help you navigate through all this jumbled mess called the 5e character sheet. And mind you, this jumbled mess is simplified compared to the 3.5 character sheet.
Oh God, yes, because that one was like, if I remember, the one that I know of for a fact was two pages for non-casters, by the way. That was 2 sheets for non-casters.
Which, by the way, you want to see the? Yeah. Which, by the way, here's this sheet for spellcasters and 5e. Boom. That's it. This isn't much though, but in the actual character sheet though, there'll be lines to write down your skills. But these are basically what you have to navigate through. But again, we'll touch on spells later down the line, which heavily later down the line, because those are another can of worms, which we'll open later. So, with the folk hero on skills in mind, now let's go put in the skills for Human right here, which a fighter gives him a choice of oh shit, it doesn't say here. What?
It should. It should be. I think it's like 3.
Oh, here we go. No, it's only 2.
No, not to choose from. 3 skills that you get to pick from any of like a certain.
2 skills from Acrobatics, Athletics, History, Insight, Intimidation, Perception, and Survival. Since he's a folk hero, Animal Handling and Survival has already been taken care of. Since specifically when it comes to creating your character, in this instance, you're not able to double dip. Only on certain feats you are able to. But so for skills, what 2 can we give on a Human over here?
See, what did you say he already had handles? Animal handling
and survival. And so again, let's look into this as you choose your skills. Again, with the humble tomato. Hopefully this fits. Okay, so acrobatics, basically it allows you again to dodge a tomato. Animal handling is a way to actually feed a tomato to your animal companions. Arcana is your intelligence, knowing like, oh, this tomato is not enchanted. Athletics is your skill to
you can run away from the tomato.
No, it's actually how well you can withstand being hit by a tomato, or smashing through a cart full of tomatoes.
I was just gonna say smashing through a large tomato.
Deception is your skill to like, hey buddy, this tomato is enchanted.
This tomato is actually a vegetable.
Like and history basically is your stat to know that botanically this tomato is actually a fruit. Insight is to know that this tomato is not actually enchanted, and the guy that sold to you is lying. Intimidation is basically forcing the person to buy it no matter what.
God.
To buy like hey, guess what? This tomato is enchanted. No, it's not. Buy it anyway. Investigation is knowing that the guy selling the tomato is basically doing it because he needs to feed his family. Medicine is knowing that the tomato he's trying to sell has drugs inside.
I was gonna say, medicine is the skill that you use to tell when somebody's got tomato poisoning.
But yeah, that too. Or it's basically the check to know that someone ate a bad tomato. Nature is knowing that the tomato he's trying to sell is not rural in the surrounding forest. Perception is basically you're trying to perceive from far away that he's selling bad tomatoes.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be far away. It's just to perceive.
I'm trying to give a good example using the tomato again. But perception doesn't always mean seeing. It also means hearing and smelling as well.
Yeah, it's pretty much most of your senses. Because you're not going to use touch. Well, you could probably use touch for perceive.
You can also argue that you can also argue for a roleplay sense that it can also be your quote-unquote sixth sense. It's like, I don't feel right. We should get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That seems like a wisdom-based thing, and perception is wisdom. Never mind, I'm dumb. My bad. That is accurate. Never mind. That is why you are the dungeon master, and I am the dungeon.
Dungeon
frog, I guess. I don't know.
I thought you called it I thought you called it the dungeon monster or something.
That's why I'm the dungeon boy.
Alright, so anyway, what were we at? Perception. Performance is basically how well you can juggle tomatoes. Basically, you're performing on feats of like oohs and ahs.
It's also good for when you want to avoid having tomatoes thrown at you, because if you roll a good performance, nobody's going to do that.
That is true. Persuasion is basically you're trying to again, if the intimidation didn't work, try to persuade them heavily using your sauce backstory on buying your drug-laced tomatoes. Religion is also a check to know that 500 years ago this breed of tomato had a religion following it, saying it was a gift from the gods.
A religion check will allow you to tell that 450 million years ago, the great god Armok was saved by an enchanted tomato that this man is trying to sell you. I guess you could use it to tell that he's full of shit too, because
yeah,
that doesn't sound like any religion I've ever heard of.
Sleight of hand is basically in how well are you just sneaking a tomato in someone's pocket.
and then using your charisma to say that guy's stealing tomatoes from you.
Stealth is basically is pretty much self-explanatory. It's how well you are hiding yourself while you're stealing tomatoes. And finally, survival. Basically, is knowing that the guy is stupid. There's tomatoes growing outside the town.
Yes, and also, this survival's used in cooking, right? Or am I thinking of? I'm probably thinking of Fallout. Now that I think about it.
You could argue saying yes. It is the only time this is actually brought up though is being a ranger, where you actually do have a skill within your ranger tool belt where you can roll a survival check, and you can gain like either I think a D4 or two times worth of food. But I think that only applies to your preferred territory.
Yeah, survival is basically just like I think it's normally used as like a catch-all for just anything in the wilderness, anything that's not a civilian setting normally.
But
if you're not in a town or anything and you're just in the wilderness, I think they usually use. But
it can also be used basically in tracking as well.
Yeah, because I just realized that nature probably also plays a hand in being in. Well, I guess that's because that's why it's called nature, but. Your ability to survive in nature by looking at something and going, I'm not going to eat that, that's poisonous.
Or, also on identifying what this plant is and if it's safe or not.
Yep. Poisonous tomatoes.
I rolled a nature check. 5. What is it? Yeah, it's a tree with leaves. I also rolled a nature check. Not twig. What do I get? That's poison ivy, you idiot.
I'm sorry, I just went back to Sushi's character who's just like, fuck nature. He's a druid.
He's a city druid.
Oh.
He made him to be a combat druid.
He follows the VTuber Mume, who's just the warden of civilization.
I could have allowed him to get on this is one guy. I don't know if I told you about him though. His name is Connor McKinley. Or he goes by the handle.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he goes by the handle Distortion Devil.
That name also sounds familiar.
Yeah, and he basically on DM's Guild he made a homebrew on a subclass for the druid. It's called the Druid of War or something. I forget what it is, but basically you use up your wild shapes to conjure weapons.
That sounds sick. That sounds amazing. I like that. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I think it's called the circle of war druid, or like the circle of forge druid or something. Basically, it's a druid meant for war.
That sounds awesome. Now, let's see if he was Matthew Mercer, they'd put it in the book.
I mean, again, you could argue that Matt Mercer is their biggest advertisement to selling D&D stuff.
Oh my god, he is. I shouldn't even just... I should admit that. Like, forthwith, he is the poster boy for Wizards of the Coast right now.
Which kind of funny though. He actually hates the whole Mercer effect.
I put it past him, because that can be attributed positively and negatively. Like that's like being a kid named Melvin, and then they invent the term Melvin to describe like a dorky person, and you're like, I'm not that dorky, and then it's just like, that's it. It's just Melvin.
I mean, and the good side of things though is he's spreading like how good a D&D is when it comes to like role playing and like getting into character and having fun. The bad side of it though is like in his mind it could have been like, these DMs are trying to be just like me. No, you should be you yourself.
Yeah, that's how everybody should run their games. Is they should just run it the way they're gonna run it. I mean, that's gonna determine whether or not it's a good or bad experience. But
yeah, as for me though, I try to run my games as closest to me as possible. The only thing I got from Matt Mercer is just one thing: the rule of cool. If it's cool enough and my players want to do it, oh hell yeah, make them roll for it.
Like a certain dogkin barbarian using a tree as a club,
or sticking a torch at someone's woohoo hole.
Oof. I don't like the sound of that. That sounds horrifying.
Dude, you were there.
I know, but still, that sounds very horrifying.
And she succeeded.
God. And what did she roll to get that? Was it just a straight roll, or did she use an edge?
I forgot. It's been like over, what, a year now since we were in that little tiny story arc?
Because she was aiming for such a tiny, tight hole, she probably used it.
Well, you had him in some sort of clutch.
I had him in the good old Cobra clutch. I hit him with the iron sheet.
Alright, so anyway, that's basically a description of all the skills we have as your character. So what 2 should we give Human? He already has animal handling and survival, so it's acrobatics, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, or perception.
Oh, they don't get persuasion? That's weird. Alright,
Well, fighters are meant to fight. Who knew?
That is true. That is totally true.
To quote on Jokehead, oh gee, I wonder what this class does. It's a fucking mystery.
Fight guy. That's his name. Human fight guy.
Yeah, human fight guy.
Well, skills also kind of play into like role playing as well. So
yeah,
do we want Human to be an intimidating? Well, I guess he could use intimidation as a tactic.
It's like, you better leave that dog alone, or else.
Why is he Batman?
I'm Batman.
Kathy Bateman.
I don't know. Each time I think of the grizzled old veteran, my voice immediately goes to this. I've seen some shit, man.
I like that we're like trying to figure him out before we even make him. I mean, I guess that plays into.
That's a good question though. Is he the grizzled old veteran who's going back into adventure because of some tragic backstory, or is he the new guy from a small town who's a big fish? He's a big fish in a small pond, small pond, that type of thing.
Yeah, I would probably say he's leaving his town because he's too good of a fight guy in a small town. He wants to do that most anime thing he can and go out and look for more challenges. Let's see. I guess intimidation and
intimidation. Boom. +2 went to +4.
I don't know about acrobatics, but what was one of the other ones? I should probably just have
athletics, history, insight, and perception.
You know what? Let's do insight. He doesn't. I mean, his wisdom's not super terrible.
Well,
no. I was looking at intelligence. I was like, he's got a -1. No, it's average. Insight, so.
And with that in mind, here's your skills and here's your skills. Basically, what everything does, though, again, through the roll of a dice. Through all the roll of a dice, you basically roll a d20 and add your modifier. So, for example, Human, make an intimidation check. You roll a d20 +4. So, and whatever you roll, you have to stick with. So, and again, is D&D or any tabletop RPG altogether is all a game of chance. You let fate decide what you want to do, whether you like it or not. So just because just because you're good at that skill doesn't mean doesn't mean what you do in that situation will be good.
Yeah. Trust me, I've rolled enough shit to know.
For example, you can have a +4 in intimidation, and you roll a 2. That makes it a 6. So that's not a very good roll. But you can have a -1 on Arcana, roll a 19, and so it'll be an 18. You'll be like, roleplay was, oh, my father knows about this artifact because he's been to that dimension. Again, use your rolls as part of your roleplay. It can be fun. It can be infuriating, but it can be fun overall in the grand scheme of things. Like, for example, in TFS at the table with Lanny Patora's character, Wake Skillbound, he rolled a -1 on figuring out on ghosts, and so he went with ghosts don't exist.
Ghosts aren't real.
And because of that, it became part of his character where he believes that ghosts do not exist. Because you rolled that one.
That's like the role equivalent of Sora's character not believing in gods while they live in a setting where people can talk to their gods.
Oh no, he chose to be an atheist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is more like the role equivalent of that, where it's just like ghosts don't exist. It's like you live in a world full of magic. How are you gonna say nothing is like everything's off the table with that?
and which is kind of funny too, because the Sora's character is getting the power of God in anime.
God.
Look at him, he has a dagger blessed by the goddess of light.
No, it's just. I want to hear how he explains how it works. Cause
he doesn't. He doesn't. That's the whole thing. No one's asked him for anything about that. He just kept quiet. He's not.
Well, wait. Do we know that the dagger's blessed by a god?
No.
If we ever play again,
you just know that it came from a Illuminate temple. That's it.
Okay, well, if one of our characters is very perceptive, I want somebody to like...
Well, he did see him stab the Master of Corruption with the Holy Dagger or something, and you see webbed the light come from the dagger, but none of you guys actually comment on that. Question or comment on that. You were all like, yeah, he's dead finally!
Just
Maybe.
wanted that guy dead. All my homies hate that guy.
Oh,
if I may use a meme that's probably out of date by now.
All my homies hate Lemon Drop.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's all your skills for now. Now it's time for HP. Oh, actually no, armor class. So as of right now, you imagine your character. Imagine you being human. You're wearing nothing, no sword, no shield, no armor, just plain clothes. So your armor rating is 10 plus your dexterity modifier because you're trying to dodge stuff. Because your armor class doesn't mean armor itself. Armor class means how good you are on blocking or dodging attacks.
Yeah, and that's a very confusing That's a very confusing name because I always used to think that armor class was just straight up armor.
I think it was at one point like either 1E or 3.5.
Yeah, and in the older ones you had like the specific armor class, and then you had like a dodge or something. Like
a dodge. Oh, I'm taking this from Pathfinder, but there is a reflex skill as well.
I just remember reflex saving throws, but
that too, yeah. Also, apparently in Pathfinder 1, there's also like a two different types of AC, which are regular AC and flat-footed AC, which it got confusing at that point.
Oh yeah, no. 5e is definitely like... I know I joke about it. I don't mean it to sound like horrible, but D&D 5e is basically Babby's first D&D. And it's not a bad thing. It's very simplistic. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there that probably like the old systems because they're more complex. I like this because it's easy to make a character, it's easy to play, and with the introduction of stuff like Roll20, you don't even have to do math anymore. Anybody can play it.
And also, it's mostly because the fact that a lot of 3.5 veterans actually agree that 3.5 is very intimidating and has a very, very high learning curve. But once you get into it, though, and get on to the nitty-gritty, then it can be very fun. Because arguably, there are more options and more creativity in 3.5 compared to 5e. Again, they couldn't bring everything in 3.5 into 5e. They had to combine the good aspects of 3.5 and the good aspects of 4e, which we don't talk about, and made 5e. Like a good aspect they got from 4e, spell slots. Because the spell system in both 3.5 and Pathfinder was complicated shit. Like,
wait, was that the one where they introduced like the once a day power nonsense, or was that 4?
I think that was 4. But I remember I played a caster in Pathfinder, and I had spells that said, I can only use this twice a day, and I had this. I can only use this once a day. No, wait, they had a system where, like, depending on your level, you can use lower level spells more times a day. Which, like, say for example, you're level 2, you can only use level 2 spells once a day. Well, level 1 spells like only 2 times a day, and it increases as you level up, which. That just sucks. Because most adventures, especially most adventures, only take 1 day.
Yeah. Well, after this stream, do you know I think his name's Aiden. You've heard of that YouTuber, right? Aiden. He does like little D&D animations.
Is he the one?
Well,
is he
anyways,
the one? We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I was gonna say after the stream, just look up a video about his video about fireballs. The first person to use fireballs in 5e. It's great.
Yeah. So anyway, that's basically armor class. Initiative is the same thing in the same vein.
Dexterity.
It basically dexterity. It basically takes off your dexterity score. So and there are certain armor, and there's certain armor which again will manipulate your armor class. So leather, like for example, like there are like light armor and medium armor and heavy armor. Light armor is basically it gives you a certain AC bonus plus your dexterity modifier. Medium armor, it's on I think the wait, I have the book in front of me. What the fuck?
Medium armor, if I remember correctly, it has a specific amount. Like it'll be like plus your dexterity up to a certain number.
Oh yeah, it's basically on the maximum +2 dexterity. So if you have a +4 dexterity, then it's best to stick with light armor. If you have a +2 dexterity or +1, then medium armor is good. But if you plan to be a full blown like slow tank, I block everything, don't worry my friends, I will be your shield type of thing, it's best to go with heavy armor. Which
again doesn't draw anything from your dexterity class, and also gives you disadvantage on sneaking.
Except for the fact that there are certain qualifications of it though. Like for example, full plate armor, which is the best armor when it comes to rating, it gives you an 18 armor class. The only downside is that you need a minimum strength of 15 to even wield it, and you have a disadvantage on all your stealth checks.
Yep, because there's no way in heck you're sneaking around a battlefield and clankety clank.
Clonk, clonk, clonk. Oh, what's that? Oh, nothing. Clonk. Hey, it can happen. I've seen guys in full plate armor where they roll for stealth. Disadvantage is they still get 18 under disadvantage.
And that's why you will never catch my Warforged Forge cleric with his plate armor body sneaking around a battlefield. He's basically just Al from Full Metal Alchemist.
No, I'm actually just clonk, 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 burning, clonk, clonk, like.
And is he sneaking through a crowd of people?
No, all I'm imagining is like you're sneaking through, creating all this steam and burns, but because you roll so high, it's like you're like a walking. People think you're some sort of radiator or something.
Oh god.
But anyway, so like on equipment we can deal with later. But that's an example of what armor class is or what initiative is. Speed is always 30 feet, no matter what, unless you're playing as a class that has increased speed. For example, rogues or monks. Because 30 feet is basically the it's more on ratio rather than class, right? Unless the class itself increases speed.
It's based on your it is based on your race, because the smaller races like kobolds and halflings and stuff, their movement speed is only 25.
Yeah, well,
at least it used to be. I don't know if they've changed the rules on that or not. But I remember back in the day, it was the smaller body types had a decrease of 5 in their normal. So basically, you're like stock standard movement speed for medium-sized characters is 30.
Yeah, so well, you could argue that there are like wait, hold on, I'm looking up halfling.
Halfling should be 25 if I'm not mistaken. You can also move under people or through their legs and stuff.
Speed is 25 feet.
Which didn't help me in my full plate armor. That would be really weird if like walking through somebody's legs, like, oh, pardon me, sorry. Through their legs. My apologies, ma'am. Your skirt should not be so small. That's not appropriate.
Well, so anyway, so depending on since he's a human, humans are the you could say the poster boy are medium-sized creatures. They're basically the scale when it comes to medium. They're literally the medium of mediums. And so I got 30 feet. Hit points. How much your HP is. And the HP you get depends on your class. So for fighters, hold on, I made these tabs for a reason.
Your hit points are going to be based off of. It's also going to be rolled, and it's a roll of the specific dice and your constitution.
Unless you want to go with the default.
That is also true. I forgot about that. There's a what is it called? An average.
Yeah.
For each one.
Yeah. So basically,
based on the type of die.
So at level 1, it's 10 plus your con modifier. So at this point, in this case, your hit point maximum for human is 12, and so make that to 12.
And of course, HP is basically a value that determines how much you get hit before you fall down.
And we'll touch upon that in just a wee moment. So this it's basically for a fighter itself. It's 10 again, but then each class is different. It could be a 6, it could be an 8, or barbarians is 12. But again, we'll touch upon that though when we touch upon actual classes, races and classes. But so this is the hit point maximum. Here's the current hit points, and for level 1, mind you, level 1. As you level up for fighter, you have to roll. You normally have to roll for it, or if you don't want to roll, because you can take up the average. Because the good side about rolling is it can be higher than the average. The bad side is you can roll a 1.
Yeah, that is true. But then sometimes you get this is also dependent on who your DM is. Sometimes they will give you like a you roll a 1, but they're like the lowest you can go is a specific number.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get vindictive ones that are like, no, the 1 is what you get. What do you have a con modifier of? 0? Oh, you just get 1 hit point. Sorry, boy.
That's why at the very least, though, I tried to help you on with raising your con.
Yep.
But and I think usually if I want to roll with your permission, usually Roy or Sushi will like, nah, I'm gonna do it as is because that's more fun. But if with your permission though, I'll allow you to actually 1 mulligan. If that roll is still 1, then oh well, that's fate.
Yeah, that's bad luck. That just sucks.
Yeah. Or blame roll 20. But yeah, so for a fighter, it's you basically roll a 1d10, and again, that's 1d10 plus your con modifier. So if you roll a full 10, hey, plus 12 health. Like say for example, you rolled on take for example, this is now level 2. I'm not gonna do it again. This is an example. So you roll a d10 and say it's a 10. Oh, hey, it's a 10 plus 2 on the Constitution modifier. That's 12. So instead of 12 is now 24. Woo, 24! But, on the bad side of it, say you roll a 1, and, and you're playing with the DM that's all about the rules is written. Not necessarily a bad thing, but not necessarily a good thing either. It's like, oh, 1, yay, plus 2, that's 3. So instead of having the full 24, it will be 15. Big difference. That's why people will go with the average. So if you go with the average, like go with the average overall, that's 6 plus 2, that's 8. And that instead of having the lowest of 15, you have a medium of 20. See, big difference. So you want to go roll high? Good for you. You can get up to 24 max health at level 2. If you roll low, then you can go as low as 15 max health at level 2. Again.
Yep. And again, lady luck.
Uh-huh. So it's all up to you. You want to roll for it, or just take the medium.
Lucky feet doesn't help you.
No. Laughs in DM. Early in the game, you don't have to worry about temporary hit points, because I want to say roughly about 95 to 98% of classes will not have spells or abilities which will give you temporary hit points this early in the game.
Yeah, that sounds like it. That seems like a... I mean, it sounds like an arbitrary number, but it's also pretty apt, because...
Yeah, because spells and abilities like those will now show up until at least level 5. But, to make it easier for you to understand, temporary hit points is like a shield. Any damage you accrue will go to that first. For some strange reason, Human met some sort of powerful wizard, gives him 20 temporary hit points. He gets hit for 18 damage, which normally would kill him. But, so with that in mind, that means he now has 2 temporary hit points, which saved his ass. And so, if you're playing a class that gives temporary hit points, take it. Use it. It's good for the party. A good example of this though will be a warlock, which is the pact of the celestial. Every morning, they wake up and it gives their party temporary hit points.
Oh, I don't know why I didn't know that.
I know that because I know because of the Connor McKinley, the Distortion Devil. He plays as a celestial warlock on in Knight Patrol's game.
Oh,
in his current level, he gives on his allies, I believe, 10 temporary hit points every morning, and he gives himself 17.
Jesus. Yeah, if you're gonna have a party member who's a warlock, maybe hint at them to get Armor of Agathis, because at level 2, they can cast it on themselves and like one other person. I think. No, maybe I'm reading this.
It's only on themselves.
It is only on themselves. Damn.
Yeah, it's basically a spell that gives you temp HP, but when it's your turn again, it goes away. Because the flavor of it, though, is Armor of Agathis is basically an armor of ice.
Yeah, you splash water on yourself, I guess, because the material component is a cup of water. You're frozen. Where's my super suit?
Wait,
patron.
Wait, we'll hit spellcasting later because that's not a can of worms.
He's not going to be a spellcaster, obviously.
No, but anyway, so hit die.
Not with that intelligence.
Next up is hit die. So hit die is basically how much hit die you have. Basically, what it is though, imagine a pool of hit dice. You get more hit dice as you level up. So at level 1 you get 1. At level 2 you get 2, and so on, up to like level 10 or 15 you have 15 hit dice. What the hit dice is, like say for example on Human got injured on his way back to town. Way back to town, and he has a camp for overnight, knowing this place is safe. Ha ha, quote unquote. But again, example. He has like 5 hit points left. And he has no potions, and so he takes a small rest. A short rest. But see, the difference between a short rest and a long rest is like a long rest, you get everything back. Spell slots, hit dice, HP, everything. Short rest...
I was going to say, for the low price of spending, like, what was it, like 6 to 8 hours, I believe?
At least, I believe it is at least 6 to 8 hours, yeah.
Yeah, the main difference, aside from what Kenshin has said, is also the amount of time taken to do it.
Yeah. For a short rest, though, it's a minimum of at least 10 to 15 minutes. Or an hour, depending on your
And
DM.
Only certain classes get stuff back.
Yes, but every class, if you so choose to, can roll a hit die. For example, hit die for a fighter is D10. You can roll a D10 to get your health back. So I'm gonna roll a random D10. Hold on, wait. I should actually enable
dice, the 3D dice.
Yeah.
I think that's the only like.
Whoa! This changed. What the hell?
Whoa. Okay, thanks thanks Roll20. We get used to a certain system. You go, let's change it. This is too fancy for me. I'm way too like non-tech savvy. This is blowing my mind. I don't like this.
And mind you, this is basically the DM options right here. So.
Oh god.
There you go. Enable 3D dice.
Them looking like that.
I'll make it roll 3D dice. There we go. There. And so let's pretend roll a D10, shall we? So rolling a D10. 5. So go with that same example. Where'd the screen go? With the same example, so you get 5 plus your Constitution modifier. So it's one. So 1d10 plus your con modifier. He gets 7 health back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey, look, he's back at full health. So now if he so chooses to, he can go walk back to town. Yes. And plus you have to spend a hit die. And when you spend a hit die, though, you don't get the hit die back until you do a long rest.
Yeah, an easier way to think about it would be like, it's basically you catching your breath, more or less. Because you're using the short rest to throw the die. Pretty much it's like if you were in a dungeon and you got hit by something and then you managed to run away from it, and there's no chance of it catching up to you. You can take a short rest, and that's basically just like you catching your breath.
Yeah, it can be either like catching your breath, you're bandaging up your wound, letting it naturally heal. You're not thinking straight. You're not hyperventilating, that kind of thing. And like say, once you take a long rest, you get everything back. So, say for example, his roll wasn't sufficient, and he has like about 8 health, even after the short rest. After a long rest, he gets not only his hit die back, but also his full health back. And
so his family returns.
And a lot of skills, depending on your class, and also will say either long rest or short rest. Like, for example, I believe the fighter's second wind ability.
Ah, yes, that's like using a hit die without actually using a hit die.
Yeah, so for example, a fighter using so basically the second wind ability includes the feature you must finish a short or long rest. Normally it will say long rest or short rest. But if it says short or long rest, basically means that you get it back at both times. So you use this ability, gain HP back. Take a short rest, you can use it again. Basically, you think about that particular ability is like getting a particular shot of adrenaline.
Was it which spellcaster is it that gets theirs back on a short rest? Was it Warlock or Sorcerer?
Warlock.
Because I remember seeing a video where it was just like each class displayed as like a specific way, and it was one of them was just like, hey, let's nap, and then they just fall on the ground.
Yeah, that's Warlock. Warlock gets all their spells back, but the bad side is though they only have 5.
Yep, which I guess we would also cover
later on.
Some other some other part.
Because wizards also do get spells back on a short rest through arcane recovery, but that's an arbitrary math equation which we'll touch upon later.
Yeah, that's kind of like their version of second wind, but instead of getting health back, they get a certain amount of spell slots.
Again, we'll cover that once we cover classes. Right now, we're just covering character creation and also navigating through your through your character sheet. Next up, that's everyone's favorite, death saves. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Alright, so take for example on human goes to 0 HP. And that's assuming and also be mindful that most blows, apparently there is a rule in here in 5e which you can't argue or talk to with your DM, is that if the killing blow, if the blow itself is double your maximum HP, then you just immediately die. So for example, if a human takes 24 points amount of damage, which human, you're stupid. Why are you there facing a powerful enemy? Then he just immediately dies. But if it's like say he only takes about 15 amounts of damage, which still make him go down to 0 hit points, it only goes 0. It doesn't go negative. The only games that actually would go negative is like I think 3.5 and Pathfinder.
Yep.
Because there's a ruling in Pathfinder to where like you must kill the negative first before they're stabilized. And so anyway, when you're at 0 hit, and so for 5e again, that means first DM, any blows that are not double your current health will just make your health points go to 0. And once you're at 0,
incapacitated.
Yep, and incapacitated. Once you're at 0, you're knocked out and you're quote unquote bleeding out. Bleeding out means you have to roll death saving throws. If no one helps you while you're doing your death saving throw, while no one helps you, try to help you recover via a high medicine check or a medicine's kit, a doctor's kit or something, or like feeding you a potion or something, then you will continue to bleed out. And when you're bleeding out, you have to roll death saving throws. And to roll death saving throws, you have to roll a random d20, which a random d20. So basically, if you roll a 10 or above, you get a success. If you get a 9 or below, you get a failure. And you must do this until on a success or failures, it goes up to 3. So if you have 3 successes, boom, you're stabilized, but you still have 0 health. You're not bleeding out anymore, but you're still knocked out until someone heals you or gives you and helps you back up your feet. But
we have company.
Yes, you do.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Oh, hey, welcome to my tutorial stream.
Hello.
Hello.
Kenshin. Edward.
Sora. Maggie.
Edward.
Doctor. Yeah, welcome to my D&D tutorial stream.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, we're right now in episode 1. We're actually teaching on how to create a character, and navigating the character sheet.
Ah, fun.
Yeah, so we already covered the ability scores, the skills, the saving throws, the proficiency bonus, the armor class, initiative, speed, the health, temporary health, and hit dice. We're currently covering the death saving throws. So where are we again? Oh yeah. So basically, what it is though is like you roll a d20. You roll if you roll a 9 or below, then you will get a failure. Roll a 10 or above, you get a success. And so a success, 3 successes means that you're stabilized. You still have 0 hit points. You're still knocked out until someone actually heals you or feeds you a potion. And then from that you immediately get waking up. If you have 3 failures, then yes, you are dead. There's no one saving you. A potion cannot heal you. You must have either Revivify or True Resurrection to bring you back.
And that's yet another whole can of worms.
Because if you're dead, you cannot continue the story.
You are dead. You can continue the story. Your character sheet IRL is now the DM's toilet paper.
Oof. Sounds like a horrible DM.
But here's I only covered normal rolls. So say for example you roll a death saving throw and you roll a 1. That is 2 failures.
Oh my god.
But what happens to roll that 20? Oh, very good thing actually. You immediately get stabilized. You immediately wake up with 1 health.
Yeah.
That's assuming no one wants to try and coup de grace you. And also, speaking of coup de grace, if you are down at 0 hit points, then someone can still coup de grace you. Upon which, and since you're incapacitated, it's an immediate crit. And once you land a crit on you, that's also 2 failures. So 2 hits when you're incapacitated, you're immediately dead. Be careful with that.
Yeah, aren't there monsters with enemies with traits that make them more likely to attack a downed character?
Yes, but that you don't see them until at least like level 5 to 15.
Yeah, they like to give you a chance.
Yeah, from level 5 and below, they're like, oh, we're just stupid monsters. Oh, you're down? You're dead. You for sure were dead. And they're like, oh, why aren't you dead? But that's basically death saving throws. And next up is what I call copying everything from the book into your character sheet. That includes your proficiencies with your tools, your weapons, your languages, everything. Because overall, that's basically it though, is basically keeping track of what you're proficient in. And also, same with the copying your skills into here. Which, and again, this is not actually a good way to actually show this, but yeah. And that also features the traits. In a way, that's pretty much it. Is Emperor in chat?
I don't know. Maybe? I don't see Emperor's name, but I do see Maker Pliers still here. Hell yeah! String safe!
And also, what you guys will notice on compared to like 3.5 and stuff, though, is like the normal alignment chart is no longer on a relevant 5e. It got replaced by how like the personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws.
Yep.
Which it means like on make up whatever you want with your backstory. We don't care. And just make sure you don't actually. When it comes to role playing, a lot of times when role playing can be serious or can be lax, depending on what your role playing is. But I personally take it that if you're playing as like say a normal neutral good character, for some reason you're killing a person for no apparent reason, then yeah, I'll take offense to that and actually ask you, well, what's up?
Yeah, it's pretty much the alignment system, but nobody gets mad at you when you don't stick to it.
Yeah, it's more like because again, the alignment system is more like oh, there's 9 shades of black and white. Choose which one you want, and don't go in between. Don't. While the personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws is more like there's multitude of shades between black and white. Choose your different shades, and I'll allow you to go to another shade if you want to. But if you're playing as if you choose the white shade, don't pick the black shade. Just don't.
Which also makes it more difficult when you run into items that can only be used by a specific alignment in 5e.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, those kind of discerning is mainly meant to talk between the players and the DM itself. But obviously, if you're a neutral good character and you're like, oh, I protect my friends, but then I also kill bandits, blah blah blah. I take the law into my own hands. But if you find a staff of say an Eldritch Abomination, where it makes you evil and burn down everything in your path, then yeah, either that staff will corrupt you, take over you, or you just can't use it. Or you take like 2d10 psychic damage. Again, depending on the DM. And depending on the story and everything and how you are. The complicated math part, that's pretty much it though. This is Human, our level 1 fighter who's a champion. Who is also a folk hero.
He'll be a champion when he reaches level 3.
Yeah. But
that is a subclass.
Yep, but this is Human at level 1. As a fighter, he's proficient with everything, which I'm not kidding him. I'm not really kidding. So weapons, yeah. So literally, it says in the book, proficiencies all armor and shields,
as well as weapons.
Simple and martial.
Yeah, but those are really the only 2 weapons types there are: simple and martial.
Oh yeah,
so basically, any weapon is at his disposal.
And any armor is at your disposal as well.
Yep, he's basically just Link.
And
especially in Breath of the Wild.
Yep, and leveling up. Basically, besides getting more and more health, it's also depending on your class as well. Is what you'll get as you level up. Besides, more skills and such. So, for the fighter, in this instance, at level 2, he gets the skill called Action Surge. Only one use, though. At 3, he gets the martial arts type, which is Champion. And again, this is actually a small tutorial on the fighter as well. At level 4, you get what's called an ability score increase. Basically, at level 4, 6, 8, 12... 14 and 16, and 19, you get ability score increase. Basically means you have to increase by 1 point which of these scores you want to increase. And overall, that can actually make or break certain characters on whether or not you want to actually make your character all about strength, or you want to make it more balanced between strength and agility. Depends on how you want to grow your character as a person itself, or if you want to be that annoying, how you want to min-max your character.
Laughs in player character.
But yeah, overall, that's how it is. Or optionally, also, and depending on your DM actually allows this, you can trade in. Instead of increasing your stats, you can trade that in for like getting a feat. And there are a lot of lists of feats though that are listed here in the player's handbook or in other books as well, like say Ravnica, Strixhaven. I believe they also have some in Morton Kindness to Foes or Volo's Guide.
But the best one is the lucky feat.
Fuck you and your lucky feat. I don't know. I feel like giving a halfling the lucky feat is like putting a hat on a hat.
Oh no! You get a halfling with the lucky feat, and then you also make him a divination wizard.
You roll that one, lucky feat. You roll another that one. No feat. How do you keep rolling that ones? Divination. You roll a 2. Fuck this game.
No. The divination one has portents, which you get. Well, I guess technically you still roll a 1, but you can choose not to use that one. You roll 2 die every time you wake up. So like every start of the new day, you roll 2 die, and whatever you get is that. And you can literally replace basically any roll with that.
So you roll 1 and 2, and that day, like, fuck this roll.
Yeah, you're very unlucky, which is ironic given that you have picked the halfling and also have the lucky feat.
Wait, can you use lucky feat on that as well?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not sure. I've never looked into that.
And so, besides everything here, let's go and give a human like a good example. So, like, for now, how about let's give human like should we give him medium armor or light armor? I say maybe medium armor to because he's starting out.
Yeah, that might work.
Let's go with the one that doesn't give him disadvantage. Let's go with a breastplate, which is a 4. Basically, it's okay. So basically, I'll just put it right here. And again, a lot of these also have weights as well, and depending on what your strength is how much you can carry. Again, which I don't. It gets complicated if you actually do have that. I usually ignore it because bags of holding exists, which ignores weight.
Oof, I forgot about those. I don't know why. That's like the. Oh my god, I'm dumb.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so a breastplate here will cost 20 pounds. And with that though, it basically gives them a armor class of 14 plus the dex modifier, so that's 15 armor class, which is average for a fighter.
Yeah, that's actually an alright one, and that's not even like if we made him a sword and board, that would also.
Yeah, if we give him a shield, which is like over here. Let's say shield. Shield, which also is another 6 pounds. That there's a +2 to AC, so that from 15 goes to 17.
Now we're looking at a pretty beefy boy.
This is our big fish in a small pond on Human.
Human.
And with that, let's go give him also a weapon as well.
Well, since we're giving him a shield, chances are it's going to be like a. I always get the terminology wrong, but I think it's a long sword he can still use with a shield, right?
Well, it has to be one-handed. It can't have the two-handed property, or the heavy property.
It also has the what's the word I'm looking for here? There's a property and I don't remember the name of it, but it determines whether or not you can wield it one-handed. And I don't remember if that's
Is there
a long sword or not.
Because a longsword, all that has is versatile.
Versatile. Yeah, that's where you can use it either one-handed or two-handed, right?
Well, we can use one-handed or two-handed. Oh yeah, Missy and yeah, because it was two-handed. It was two-handed though. It increased on the die to be the damage die.
Yes, but it also does not have the heavy feat, which a great sword, or the heavy property, which is what a great sword would have.
Which is I don't know, making heavy and two-handed on separate tags, and kind of sounds redundant.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, but you got a point. It does kind of sound like they're just kind of splitting hairs at that.
Oh, never mind. It's because the fact that small creatures cannot use heavy weapons. So, like halflings and kobolds cannot use heavy greatswords.
Yeah. Wait, was I able to do that? I don't think I don't know. Baldur's Gate's an entire other can of worms because it's a video game. But
yeah. Anyways, but you can. Yeah, longsword can is like the most efficient choice. But there's also let's see. Also a lance, a pike, a spear, a scimitar.
And because he's a warrior, he can use any of those. So
yeah,
technically, any weapon's a good
but
choice.
For simplicity's sake, it will be a longsword. Ah! What the?
I mean, he could use a dagger. It would make no sense to do that. That's kind of weird.
Longsword is 3 pounds. Again, depending on your DM, you don't have to do this, but I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you in case that this rears up in any of your games.
Oh, keeping track of weight.
Yeah, and so for the longsword itself, we'll show you how to calculate that damage overall using Roll20 system. It's pretty much a self-explanatory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Remember when you asked about the lucky feat? Whether or not you could use it for to reroll portents? You cannot. It only works for attacks, ability checks, and saving throws. Which you can also use it to determine an opponent's attack roll.
What? How?
Because you're lucky. So when they make an attack roll against you, you can roll your luck die, and they can get if their luck is if their roll is lower, it's basically them just having bad luck.
All right then. So, okay. So here it is. Longsword. So to attack, use your strength score, plus nothing because it's a regular sword. He's proficient with it because he's a fighter. And no match bonus. The crit is always gotta be 20, unless you're a champion, which that actually goes and modifies it. But because I believe the champion itself, the subclass for the fighter.
I believe it just makes it 19 or 20.
Yeah, at level 3 they get improved critical, which lets the weapon land on a critical hit either 19 or 20.
And then you get to pretend you're critical and be like, "Woo, baby! That's what I'm talking about. That's what it's all about."
Remember when critical played as a garbage druid? No, a garbage sorcerer.
Yes, and then I also remember there was a guy that was pretending to be critical playing D&D with criticals. So there was literally like 3 other criticals.
Oh,
it's horrifying.
I want to be critical. Alright, so for damage itself, the damage of well, actually, no, let's call this longsword one-handed. Normally with this though, you don't have to roll. You don't have to put any of this. It's not anything fancy as this because this is actually a program. But normally, if you want to say, "Oh, I want to attack him with my longsword, two-handed," so you just roll a d20 plus your to hit will be your strength modifier, and if you do hit and you chose one-handed, you would roll a d8. If you chose two-handed, you just roll a d10. And mind you, this is all through fate. So one-handed or two-handed though, it still be good or bad. So like as fate dictates, I'm like, oh, you hit the artery or you hit like on the hard muscle. You're like, oh, two-handed, well, I only did 1 damage. One-handed, oh, I did 6 damage. Because that can still happen.
Yep.
Strength. It's a 1d8 plus strength, and plus nothing. It's a regular one, and crit is also crits are normally double the dice, so 1d8. And that's it. For the damage two type though is more like if the sword is enchanted to do fire damage or lightning damage, if it has some sort of effect to do like sonic damage and they're pushed like 20 feet away. Enchanting stuff is another can of words we'll touch upon in our episode. Anyway, that's longsword one-handed. Now, for easy sake though, I'm also gonna show you longsword two-handed. I like doing this rather than making the two of them another damage type, because then at least they're choosing which one they're doing.
Yep.
1d10. Oh, there's no such thing as a d11.
Not with that kind of attitude, there isn't.
And there you go. Longsword one-handed, longsword two-handed. So like for example, I want to attack him with one-handed. I rolled a 15. Oh, wait, you can't see that. Oh, you still can't see that. Damn it. Let me just... There. And look at that. See, and Human rolled a 15. And say that hits. And roll damage. Woo! Oh, wait. I did set that right. I set that right, so it's there we go. Slashing. Yeah, we do have to. It will say 9 slashing damage. So, and the type of damage actually that does make sense. There's like 3 types. There's slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning. And current 5e early levels, those type of damages will not be making any significant changes here or there. Again, depending on your DM though. If the DM actually changed some attributes of it though, I like to be on more of a specialty. So like, oh, these are zombies. They are vulnerable to slashing damage, but they have resistance to bludgeoning. And oh, these are skeletons. They are vulnerable to bludgeoning damage, but they're resistant to piercing damage. That type of thing. Edward, you there?
Yeah, I'm just eating.
Alright, so yeah, look at that. So one-handed, he rolled a 9. Let's try two-handed. Let's see, and pretend that hits. And with that, look at that, a 10. Again, so like on the one-handed or two-handed, there's a chance for two-handed to do more damage, but again, it's a chance. It's all on chance.
Yep.
And that's basically it. And to roll your damage, though, basically to hit, it's your preferred on a weapon, and usually, unless otherwise, is usually strength. And so you basically use strength modifier, which in this case would be 3. Plus your dice roll, and plus your proficiency. So basically, it's in this case it's he rolled a 10. In this case, for the 15, he rolled a medium 10, plus 3 from his strength and plus 2 for proficiency, and so that makes it 15. And depending on whether or not you hit, basically what you're to hit has to either equal or be greater than their armor class. If it's below, then they either block it or miss, depending on how the DM narrates that certain hit. I usually go with the equal rating. the equal rating is there's a lot of debate on what happens if it's equal. For example, if Human has a 17 armor class and then to hit is 17, I personally go with the ruling, because I don't know if it's in the book or not. I personally go with the ruling that if the armor class and to hit is equal, then the aggressor wins. So since I'm attacking and I beat your armor class, that means I barely get to hit you. That I somehow was able to push down your shield and nick your face or something. That type of thing. Some DMs will be like, oh, if it matches, then the defender wins. Again, depends on how your DM wants to play it. Edward, how do you rule the equal armor class and to hit numbers?
I usually do it just each side it's like yours basically, which is normally the aggressor. But I have seen ones where they tend to favor the player more than the NPC. I don't know if they do it just because maybe the person's new or something, but I've seen people where it's player is normally the one in the right. So if they're getting hit and it manages to hit, they're just like, or just if it equals the number on an NPC attacking them, they're just like, nope.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever read in the guide about whether or not that's the way to do it.
What the? Well, I usually go with the aggressor wins. So if an enemy NPC still attacks you and meets your armor class, then unfortunately, yeah, that still hits you. Then no goes about it. It's all on fate. But if you do it the same to them, then yeah, it's the same thing. It's
yeah, I try to play it as even as possible. So
I mean, it gives that the certain challenge within the game itself as well. And that's pretty much it, though. Plus, you do the same thing with spells too. But again, we do spells later down the line. And other than that, just like keep your weight down, unless you have a bag of holding, which in that case, I guess don't track your weight anymore.
yeah.
And the check marks here, don't worry about those because this is all about Roll20 thing. Other than that, though, is like keeping track of your proficiencies when it comes to tools. Weapons itself, you're a fighter, so you don't have to worry about that. Also, your languages, since he's a human, languages.
He'll definitely know common. Pretty much all. I'm pretty sure all races have common in there.
Unless you choose not to.
Really? You can just choose not to know. That's weird. I don't.
I think that's a ruling when it comes to like the monster races. So like if playing as goblin or kobold.
Good old kobolds.
Come
I'll try sushi with ketchup. This is gonna be the blurst thing. This is gonna be the most cursed thing I've ever tried.
How dare you say that in front of me?
What, sushi and ketchup?
Dude. Because sushi rice is different from regular rice.
It's not actually bad, but then again, I'm eating salmon nigiri, so it might just be because it's salmon. It's not bad. I wouldn't recommend it.
I mean, if you want a sauce to go with that, though, then I would just highly suggest Japanese mayo.
Yeah, their mayo do be hitting different.
Mm-hmm. And that's because they mix rice wine vinegar with their mayo. But anyway, that's pretty much it, though. And for the weapons itself, though, is basically each one has their own little properties, and which we'll touch upon later on. We'll talk about that equipment. I mean, we could talk about this now, actually, to fill time, because pretty much explain the more complicated details of the character sheet itself.
Well, I have to use the restroom, so.
Alright then.
Did you want to continue and I'll just hop back in, or?
sure. I'll continue. Alright, so anyway, let's go with the basically the different armor sets. We already talked about it. Basically, it's well, light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor. Like each of the typical armors though, and basically that give you a certain amount. Light armor, there is no dex limit to it. The medium armor, the dex limit is 2. Well, the heavy armor is you have a flat rating on what you're wearing. And again, it all depends on what class, what class are you gonna play as. The only thing is with the heavy armor though, minus the ring mail, has a strength prerequisite. So for the plate mail, you need a strength of 15 in order to wield it. But you get 18 armor class immediately. Now for the weapons, there are certain weapon. Let me screen back up. Certain weapon traits that you need to know about. First one is, let's see, text. First one is finesse. And let's see, finesse, it basically means to hit, and for damage is for easiest sakes, basically means for stat wise to hit and for damage you can use either strength or dexterity. Next up is the heavy trait. This means that let's see. And if I'm reading this right, oh, nope. Ah. Come on. How dare you? Yeah, if I'm reading this right, though, basically the heavy trait basically means that small creatures and below, they're not able to actually. Oh, I am wrong. Whoops.
Wait, what are you wrong about?
Small creatures, they can wield it, but they have disadvantage on using it. I don't know why it does that.
It's your new catchphrase for this stream. I don't know why it does that.
Seriously! No. Text, there we go. Next up will be the light one. Basically, apparently, basically, by rulings, and the light tag makes it easier for a creature to use this when using it with their offhand. Next up would be the loading.
Not one you're going to commonly come across. Well, I guess it's more dependent on what game you're playing, but...
Basically, it sums up one word. Ammo. So basically, like flintlock pistols, rifles, crossbows that have the ability to have like a magazine of bolts onto them, and I don't know, for some weird enchanted bow as well. But basically, it's the ammo trait. And let's see, what weapons that does have that. the crossbow. I had crossbow.
Yep.
And a heavy crossbow.
Yeah, the crossbows would have it because you
And a blowgun.
Yep. Blowgun. Yeah, you have to put the bolt onto the crossbow and then pull it back. So that's going to be an entire action. Whereas using a bow and arrow, pretty simple.
Yeah. So the rules is written in the player's handbook though about these is like loading, because of the time required to load this weapon. You can fire only one piece of ammunition from it when you use an action, bonus action, or reaction to fire it, regardless of the number of attacks you can normally make. That's why I in my game I introduced on the flintlock on pistols and rifles. Basically, they're currently in the age of the flintlock, and I said that you can use a bonus action or reaction to fire it, or action if you want to. The downside of it though is that to reload it, you must take your full action. You can't even move.
Yeah, I mean, it would be difficult to reload one of those while moving.
Yeah.
That's why I told Jared his character should just have a bandolier of them, because that's what pirates used to do.
In fact, I showed that with Captain Skillbeard. Remember, he has two different bandoliers. One basically, and each pistol does chromatic orb. The other one though, he has his pistol does radiant damage. But the bandoliers basically he has but he has bandoliers of 7 and 10 respectively. Which the first one that does chromatic orb, he calls it the seven deadly sins, while the other one he calls it the 10 commandments.
I kind of figured that's where you were going with that.
I mean, you were there when I did it.
I know, but it's been a while. You know me, my memory no good.
So next up is another one that's self-explanatory. Range. How should I explain this without regurgitating the same old info?
That's a good question. Pretty much anything with the range property.
There.
It means that you can you just hit something from a distance. With the bows and stuff, they'll usually, when you pick a bow, it will give you the minimum range and the maximum range? No,
minimum and maximum.
It's minimum and maximum, right?
Yeah, basically, is a good example of this one would be the longbow. Longbow, where are you? It should be a martial weapon. Yeah, no. A longbow is not a martial weapon.
It's martial ranged, apparently.
Oh, yeah, the longbow. Basically, the maximum range for a longbow is 600 feet, and the minimum range, of it though is basically 150 feet. Basically, it is there is a ruling about the range weapons. I don't know if it's in 5e or not. I know for sure it was in Pathfinder, to where like if you're firing in melee, you'll have a Pathfinder you have a -2, but I think in 5e, if it's in here, it's you have disadvantage.
Yeah, I remember because it was I think it was in the Mighty Nine. Not used a hand crossbow, but had a feat that allows the character to not incur disadvantage in melee range.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically what it is, though, as long as you're a non-melee and you're within the minimum range, which is, in the longbow's case is 150 feet, which is, good, because it is a longbow, then you have, all your attacks are normal. If it's beyond 150, all the way up to a maximum of 600, then your attack is at disadvantage. So that means is that you won't hit your target, it's just though you have a harder time hitting it if it's past 150 feet. But assuming you're a great ranger or a fighter that's spec'd into using bows, then that shouldn't pose a problem.
Yep.
Much of a problem. Because it still will. There's still a chance that you roll that nat 1, but again, and as long as it's above 5, then it shouldn't matter much. Because at high level, your skills with a bow should reach like plus 13 or something.
Oh, too bad Throne's not the next one.
Next up is Reach. Basically, in basic essence, I was gonna say 2 squares in front of you, but is that a bit too simple?
Wait, what's up? Range?
5 feet to
reach.
your...
That's right.
Yeah, reach. It's some properties, mostly spears, have the reach quality. Basically, means that not only you're able to attack on the square, basically 5 feet in front of you, but also 5 feet behind them as well. But that doesn't mean you're attacking 2 people. Again, that's confusing. Basically, it means that normally when you're fighting, you can only fight within a 5 foot by 5 foot square. In front of basically 5 feet at the very most 5 feet in front of you, because
so you take basically what was it, a 3x3, right? If you're in the middle of that 3x3, you can hit anything around you, and that's the distance. That's for melee.
Oh, here, let me just draw a line here then. Okay, imagine the circle is you. Why is it gray? Screw it, make it a square. Black, whatever. I don't care. Okay, say this is you, and draw a line. Freehand. I don't know. And basically means that you can attack anything in. Why is it doing this?
What is it doing? Are you uncovering something? What the hell?
Oh, I see what it's doing. There we go. Whatever. I'll get it there. You're able to attack anything from wherever these lines are. That's your normal range. So you can attack here, there, or there. Easy? Easy? That's basically the normal range of what anyone can do. Whether it be melee, fist fighting, stabbing someone using a spell that has the quality of that has the trait of touch, which again we'll incur that later on. But if you have the reach property,
you automatically become Edward's favorite Halo game.
The reach property, you can attack up to here, up to here, up to here, up to here, and I believe going from here. Hold on, I'll use the ruler. Basically, up to 10 feet. So basically, you
just kind of double that square.
Yeah, basically much. Because Pathfinder had a ruling to where like going from Pathfinder had the weird ruling going from here to here. It's not 10 feet; it's actually 15 feet, which is kind of weird.
Don't worry, Kenshin. We've got a better system. Pathfinder can't hurt you anymore.
Yeah, so basically, when you have the reach property, this is your why is it gray?
Oh, I wish it was blue every time, so we could just make an Eiffel 50. Was it Eiffel 52? Was it Eiffel 52? Right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So basically, this is your range. So you can attack there, attack over here, over there. Anything in this square is within your range.
Does that stack with bugbears? Because they automatically have the ability to attack. I think 10 feet.
Undo. Oh yeah, they have the long arms.
Yep. They're like primate people, only cooler. They can dunk on you in basketball. I think that was a joke that Joecast made.
I think overall... Why? Why can't I delete you? Undo. There! Jesus.
He can't help you now.
I think that, unless it's stated otherwise, I think that's a ruling, and, you have to talk with your DM, but I personally won't, I'll actually allow that, because then, yeah, so basically, if you're a bugbear wielding a spear, then yeah, that's like, what, like, 20 feet of reach? That's freaking scary.
Wait, 20?
Because the spear only adds you 5. No.
Yeah, isn't there's also 5, so wouldn't that be 15?
Oh yeah, 15 then.
I can't math normally.
I don't know. I thought the reach gives him plus 10.
No, it's plus 5 if I'm reading it right.
Okay, so yeah, so the spear gives him plus 5, while their arms give him plus 5. So yeah, that 15 feet of reach, that's still scary for a melee attack.
Yeah, but what's more scary, a bugbear with a spear or a fly that can throw a knife back at you?
No. Can you imagine a bugbear wizard who can basically shock you at touch, but at range?
God! The only thing scarier than that is that I don't remember if that's a feat or if it's just a thing that happens with familiars. But there's a way that you can use your familiar to cast touch-based spells at a distance. So you just send your familiar up to an enemy and then cast the spell, and you don't even have to be anywhere near them. It just casts the spell for you. It's horrifying.
Well, I mean, like, can you imagine a touch spell but normal means? Can you imagine a touch spell but at 10 feet?
Oh yeah, no, that would suck.
I can't hit me from 10 feet away from you. I'm a bugbear, you idiot.
I'm gonna call that character that keeps having all this bad luck Unlucky Larry, because
compared to Lucky Ted.
Rolling nat ones for pretty much everything, including his lucky feat. Like, come on, dude.
Next up would be the special trait, which even the book says, and look into this later.
Yeah.
Basically, from what I'm understanding, this though is like more like, oh, is this enchanted? Does this what damage? Blah blah blah. Again, this is all on akin to the Ask the DM.
Yeah, it's actually, having scrolled down, there's another part at some point that says special weapons, and it just says weapons with special rules are described here. And then it goes on to describe them, but it looks weird. Because that should be like a sub thing. But...
What, like whips?
No, it has lance and net under it. Which, in a sense, is kind of... Yeah, I guess I would classify as a special weapon, because, I mean, net's an unusual type of weapon.
That's true.
And lance is just like...
next up is...
5 feet of you suck.
Basically, throne is basically an melee.
Basically, it's
melee or ranged.
Well, they actually, from what no, maybe I'm wrong. No, because the bows and stuff don't have the thrown property. It's just stuff like the trident and like hand axes, I think, also have them. Yeah. Hand axes, light hammers, daggers,
darts, because you can use darts as a melee weapon. These just count as dagger.
Yep. Oh, yeah, that is the only one though that I am seeing here that has the throne that's a ranged weapon. All the other ranged weapons.
Actually, no, it's because of
Oh no, net has throne, but again, that's also a special item. So
yeah, the freaking. Oh, I see why. I was wondering why the darts have the same damage and the same range as daggers. Like, what's so different about them? Like, I then remember, because darts are 1/4 the weight of daggers.
yep.
So having a bandolier of daggers is like will make you heavier than having the same amount of darts.
Yep.
But you can use darts as a dagger as well, as a improv dagger. Well, not improv, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. Just jab them with it a little. Just.
Ha ha! Ha ha!
Get out of here, you flying papaya!
Oh my! Oh, ah!
What's happening?
Next up is the two-handed trait.
What? I just refreshed users in chat. There's Toasty.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry if I called you out, Toasty.
So next up is the two-handed trait. Basically means that these weapons are like basically you must use both hands in order to wield this weapon properly. Because let's see if I'm reading this right. It requires two hands when you attack with it. So you cannot attack with this weapon using only one hand. That apparently, as rules is written, and the rules will not allow you to attack using a greatsword with only one hand. So unless you're super strong or have some enchanted gauntlets, you cannot dual wield two greatswords.
Oof. That'd be like wielding two sniper rifles.
Or a sniper rifle and gauss rifle. And launching yourself.
Nobody's gonna get that, by the way.
I know. But I mean, depending on your DM and how they make the enchanted stuff, that can be feasible. You just need to have some sort of high criteria. I should actually update that. I don't know. Well, whatever. But let's see what else. Oh, is the Toasty chatting?
Well,
Oh,
Toasty didn't have the opportunity to decide. I kind of decided for him.
well, wait for what?
Whether or not he was gonna say something.
Oh. Alright, so the last trait is the versatile trait. One hand or two hands. Basically meaning if the weapon has this trait, you're able to actually wield it with only one hand or two hands to augment the damage it does. And it could be higher, it could be lower. Again, it's all on the fate of the dice, but the dice itself you're rolling is definitely higher. And going back with the longsword that Human has, he has a D8 slashing when wielding with only one hand, but a D10 slashing when wielding with two hands. Which again, it can balance itself out though if he wants to put away his shield to attack with two hands, or I don't know, he's doing some heroic things where he's throwing his shield to his ally and he's only attacking with his longsword with only two hands, unless he picks up another longsword with his offhand, which he can't actually do since the longsword is not a light weapon. So he's pick up either a sickle or a dagger or a dart. No, a dagger. Or a club or a light hammer. Because only weapons with the light property are able to be basically can dual wield.
Does the rules actually say that? I know that's kind of like a shitty thing to say right now, but...
See the rules for two-weapon fighting in Chapter 9. Let's see, again, rules is written, so you can't talk to DM about modifying some rules here or there.
Yeah.
Chapter 9, 189.
Because, I mean, technically they're versatile, right? Which means you can use them one-handed.
Yeah, technically speaking. But I think it's because you're making a quick attack with your offhand, and your offhand not really your main hand that they use a lot of times. And rules is written though, when you attack with your offhand, you do the damage with no modifiers.
Yeah.
Unless you have a feat for that.
That is also true. I think there's actually a... There's also a class that has
here you go.
something...
Two-weapon fighting. When you take the attack action and attack with a light melee weapon that you're... Oh, when you take the attack action and attack with a light melee weapon that you're holding in one hand, you can use a bonus action to attack with a different light melee weapon that you're holding in the other hand. You don't add your ability modifier to the damage of the bonus attack unless the modifier is negative.
Sucks. That's such shit.
I rolled a 1, -1. I attack you for 0.
I feel like somebody had something against somebody, and they were just like, "I'm putting this in the book."
Yeah, if I was rolling that though, I'll be like minimum 1 damage. Cause like, oh, you just nicked their cheek or something. If either weapon has a throw property, you can throw the weapons instead of making the melee attack with it, which makes sense because the only ones that actually use this ability mostly are rogues, and they usually just do roll daggers.
And so they just throw daggers at everybody too.
Again, unless you get a feat for it though, which we'll explain feats later on, and probably in another video. That's pretty much it though. Like when it comes to making your character itself, we made Human the oh, what the hell? Oh, right. Yeah. Huh? Oh, there we go. We made Human our fighter human level 1, and level 3 he'll become a champion.
He'll digivolve. And
we'll go in more depth and detail about the fighters itself once we covered on basically classes. We'll start slow, or once we do cover classes, should we go in order as of the book, or just start with like the simple and to the more complicated?
I don't know. I think going by the book would be easier. Because then we would have to determine what's the hardest and then what's the easiest, and then kind of slide everything into a... I mean, there's probably a bunch of videos that describe this similar type of thing that we're talking about, but I don't know. I think it'd make it easier to follow if we just went by the book.
I mean, like, there has been, like I said before, like, if Amber was still here, because she was the one that asked for a tutorial, which I'm happy to oblige for it, though. It'll make some decent, quote-unquote, decent content on my channel. But I always say, like, if you want a tutorial on D&D, just go watch JoeCat, or, one of the other D&D YouTubers,
well, any of the ones that actually cover this type of stuff, because I mean,
I want to say RuneSmith, but not really. Though he just talks about what's in D&D rather than how to play D&D.
Yeah, I mean, he goes over the classes though.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was the other one? I think there's one called "Don't Stop Thinking." He goes over in better detail, I think class stuff. And I think he actually does do a video on how to play D&D as well.
Wasn't there another one though, where his avatar is a tiny little wizard?
Oh, I almost said Krug Smash. That's not him. That's a different D&Der, or a different D&D, or a different YouTuber. Fuck, why can't I think of what it is? Let's see. Animated spellbook. His name is Zbashu.
Okay.
And he actually hasn't used that avatar in a while. I watched a couple of more recent episodes, and now he's more of like a person in a comic book store. and he kind of plays it as like he's explaining something, and then he'll have somebody be like that guy who comes up and is like, well, technically, if you want to do it this way, and then he just kind of like, you know, tries to do it from two different perspectives. It's been a while since he's done like since I've watched an animated spellbook where he does his character. Actually, he does a lot of other characters too, because he's got like a warlock character. But there's Zbashu. Because I was gonna say, because there's other like D&D YouTubers that don't necessarily go over stuff like Dingo Doodles doesn't go over how to play D&D.
The only one that kind of touches upon this the most is Joe-Cat with his Craft Guide to D&D, which I always say like go watch his videos of it though, but even he touches upon on the nitty gritty, how to create a character, what the characters are, what the races are. It's it doesn't really tell you on how to play, which I think then we'll go on touch upon how to play after we touch upon races and classes, because that's still going towards character creation. But this episode is meant to actually dip your toes in and how to navigate your character sheet.
Oh yeah, no. The one that's better, the one that would be a better alternative to Joe Cats would be Don't Stop Thinking, because he actually has a playlist called How to Play Dungeons and Dragons. There's 32 videos in it, so I'm sure he goes over pretty much all the finer details. He also goes over the classes.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm doing it. I'm doing this because I like D&D. Got both Critical Role, Alice Pentals, and Team 4-Star introduced me to 5e, and actually easy to understand. Just read the player's handbook and you can easy to understand it.
Wait, are we ending it here? Because there's like a couple. Isn't there like more for weapon?
No, that versatile is the last one.
Is it?
Yep.
It doesn't say anything about improvised weapons or silvered weapons.
Silvered. Oh, that's more on paying gold for.
Because I've been following what you've been saying, and I've kind of looked at it. And, like, it's going in order.
I was going off of the tabs itself. Because those are the tags of the weapons themselves, but we actually can touch upon improvised weapons as well. So
because this one's like thrown and then two-handed in the first.
Yeah, and so the rules is written here in the player's handbook is improvised weapons. Sometimes characters don't have their weapons and have to attack with whatever is at hand. An improvised weapon includes any object you can wield in one or two hands, such as a broken glass, a table leg, a frying pan, a wagon wheel, or a dead goblin. I'll hit this motherfucker with another motherfucker.
Yeah.
Often, an improvised weapon is similar to an actual weapon that can be treated as such. For example, a table leg is akin to a club. At the DM's option, a character proficient with the weapon can use a similar object as if it were a weapon to use his or her proficiency bonus in. An object that bears no resemblance to a weapon and deals 1d4 damage. The DM assigns a damage type appropriate to the object. If the character uses... So basically, you hit him with a goblin... roll d4. Great. You did 3 goblin damage. If a character uses a ranged weapon to make a melee attack or throws a melee weapon that does not have the thrown property, it also deals a d4. An improvised thrown weapon has a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet.
See, that's where that's different, because I don't remember if the DM actually... No, I think he just did it for... to hit. Because that's how it is normally, right? Your strength modifier for a thing goes to...
It's... by normal rules, strength modifier is meant for melee, dex modifier is for range.
And that's for to hit, right?
To hit.
Okay. Because I don't remember, because I actually played a
that's to hit.
Brawler.
That's to hit, but you don't add your proficiency bonus if you're not proficient with it.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, because I think my DM actually gave me my strength modifier for damage for improvised weapons. But I don't remember what system we were playing, so it could just be that system. but I played a tavern brawler elf who thought he was a wizard, and he would yell, "I'm casting fist" as he would hit people.
I mean, if you have the tavern brawler feat, you are proficient with improvised weapons.
Oh, then never mind then.
Yeah.
That might have made sense.
Yeah.
I did hit a guy with a chair, which was fun.
Yeah, so if you do have the tavern brawler feat, you can actually put your proficiency bonus into hit. Which a lot of people will pick tavern brawler because of that.
You know, it's really fun actually.
And then next up will be on the silver weapons though. So again, rules is written in the player's handbook. Some monsters that have immunity or resistance to non-magical weapons are susceptible to silver weapons. So cautious adventurers invest extra coin to plate their weapons in silver. You can silver a single weapon or 10 pieces of ammo for 100 gold. This cost represents not only the price of the silver, but the time the weapon expertise need to add silver to a weapon without making it less effective. So, inadvertently, I gave you guys a little too much on your silver weapons. You weren't supposed to have +1 hit and +1 damage. But I gave it to you anyway, and so that was my bad.
Whoops, too late now.
I know. It's too late now, for further reference though, silver weapons is just like, it just gives the weapon the magical property. So they're able to damage demons and ghosts. And zombies.
100 pieces of
Like, and remember, able to, not that they're weak against. And again, that's a whole other can of worms. We'll talk about combat and magic.
Indeed.
And the special weapons in itself is like lances and nets, and I guess also some magical equipment like I forget what it's called. It's like the rings of something, but it's basically a D&D 5e Pokeball.
Oh, are you talking about Wait, does it catch living beings, or are you
Yeah,
talking about the one that...
it catches living beings.
Okay, never mind then. I thought you were talking about like a ring of spell holding. I was like, that's
No.
really simple. Why is he describing it as Pokemon?
No, it's literally a ball of rings, and you throw it though, and it just catches a living creature.
Oh, I remember that. I don't remember what it's called though, but I do remember.
Yeah, it's a ring of something though, and like the bad part of it though is that there's a chance for it to break, and if the creature is strong enough to actually escape.
Indeed.
Why is the lance considered a special weapon?
Because apparently you have disadvantage if an enemy's within 5 feet of you.
Oh.
Or not disadvantage you have disadvantage to hit them, I believe.
Also, a lance requires 2 hands to wield when you aren't mounted.
Ooh.
Oh, it's a mounted weapon. That's why it's special. It's meant to be a hit and run weapon.
Ring of temporary salvation. This website ganks.
And then that has a whole entire paragraph of rules, and that's pretty much it on basically the character creation and choosing weapon, and also the tags of the weapon themselves. Which, again, a little bit goes beyond navigating your character sheet, but when it comes to the basic character sheet, when it comes to a fighter, we're pretty much done. Because then, again, like anything else is like you're just copying and pasting from the actual book itself. So like features and traits. Like for example, the features and traits you just copy from your book. Like so you write in like for fighter like your abilities like second wind, action surge, indomitable. If he's finally a champion, he'll also write down improved critical or remarkable athlete. Stuff like that, or extra attack. You want to remind yourself, oh, you have an extra attack, or anything you get from your human side. So like if you're like, or for your racial side, so as a human, they get like nothing special.
Yeah, well, you got the whatchamacallit, the +1 and all the attributes.
Yeah, if you're a variant human though, you get like choose 2 to get +1, and you get an extra skill of your choice, and also a feat of your choice.
Yep.
But if you're like say a drow, you get like dark vision. If you're a dragonborn, you get a breath weapon. Depending on your skill color, and because of
You're a dwarf, you're immediately Scottish, and everybody thinks you drink too much.
I'm a dwarf. God damn it. And yeah, and all it is just copying what's in the book and into your character sheet, to actually remind you on what your human and what your class and race does, rather than always referencing the player's handbook every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And out of that though, you can use actual the second side of the character sheet, and actually you want if you know how to draw very well, you can draw what your character looks like in this little square right here. There's also like anything you want to add, because especially like the character's backstory, any treasure you're hoarding, additional features and traits in case the first square is runs out, because this is Roll20. This square can expand infinitely. So, but in the actual page IRL, that's not the case. So that's why you have all these extra spaces to actually draw upon or write upon. And also your spells, if you're a spellcaster, this is where you put all your spells in. And level from level 0 to level 9, 0 the spells are called cantrips in this game, because before 5e, they were called level 0 spells. Unless they've been calling them level cantrips in 4e. I don't know.
I don't remember actually.
Yeah. And so before we head off though, the only square in this entire the first page that I didn't touch upon, besides class resources, that's depending on your class itself, is inspiration. When you have depending on your DM, depending on what you did or certain events happen, you get a point of inspiration. Boop. And with that point of inspiration, that means you have that point. Oh, by the way, you can't give or use that inspiration for something else. You have, let me see, a free reroll for. Correct me if I'm wrong, Edward. A free reroll on anything, except for damage. I think except for damage.
Yeah, I've forgotten about inspiration, because rarely do I ever play games that give us inspiration.
I tried to give you guys inspiration at certain times, and the last time I did those, like I was asking you guys to recall what happened last time, and those who did get some point of inspiration.
Yeah, the only game I've ever played where that was like almost like a main feature was the first time I had played D&D, and that was like a homebrew one, so they referred to them as pips. But we were able to store them. You didn't just get one, and you always got one for doing a crit, like a critical hit. So sometimes people would have 4 or 5 pips, and I remember the DM's wife, who was not very good at Dungeons and Dragons. She went through 5 of them in one thing because she kept rolling ones. And she managed to actually save herself because of the pip system, but she blew through all of them, like, just in that one encounter.
Oh, here we go. Oh, never mind. Okay, so rules is okay. Never mind. I was wrong. I was wrong for the most of my explanation. So rules is written for inspiration. If you have inspiration, you can expend it to when you make an attack roll, saving throw, or ability check. Spending your inspiration gives you advantage on that roll.
Oh, sick. I like that better than re-rolling.
Additionally, if you have if you have inspiration, you can reward another player for good role playing, clever thinking, or simply doing something exciting in the game. Blah 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 to your discretion. When another player character does something that really contributes to the story in a fun, interesting way, you can give up your inspiration to give that character inspiration. So, if you so choose to, if they don't have inspiration though, you can give them your inspiration if you so choose to.
You just yell at them. You look at them and go, "Barbarian, remember that dragon you used to have? Yeah, he killed it."
What? Like.
The bad guy just looks at you like, dude, dick move.
Dude, dick move. But you killed him! I know, but still dick move. And then the Berserker Barbarian goes into a fury. But yeah, and that's pretty much it. I'm navigating the basics of your character sheet on episode 1. We still have more episodes to go to, and touching upon more and more advanced as we go on. I believe next up, which still goes like a part 2 for character creation, which is explaining races, and there is a lot of them.
Oh yeah, no, there's like, what is it, like 23, 28, something like that?
About! And that's not including any possible homebrew races you want to add, and you as a DM or you as a player want to add spice to the game itself. But there's a lot of them, and I'll go and actually cover the ones I have physically in my books, because I do have like the new books that came out though. I do have the fairy book, the Wilds of Wildermount, also the College of Strixhaven, and also I believe the Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. The last couple books I already have. But I'll cover basically the official ones, and we'll see if we can find more or less some official ones that are not in books yet. Because I know for sure that when you play as your merfolk, it was official, but not in the book yet.
No, it was official. It was just in a supplementary, because you know how Wizards of the Coast. Apparently, those are races from like was it Magic the Gathering? They have their own supplement books, but they're not like within the main continuity of Dungeons and Dragons normally.
Well, it's the same thing with Ravnica. Ravnica is a Magic the Gathering setting.
Yeah, but that one's an actual book. The ones I'm talking about are like supplement books, so they're not even like you might get an adventure in it, but it's like a very small contained one, as opposed to like Ravnica, which has a bunch of different stuff you can do.
So like Sword Coast.
Did Sword Coast have less than 2 adventures?
I don't know, because I know for sure Sword Coast had an actual book.
Yeah. The one I'm talking about is like a small like a side series of books, because they're literally called, I think they're called Plane Shift or Planar Shift. And they're basically just a bunch of races from their Magic the Gathering setting that they didn't put in Ravnica. There we go.
So basically it's official, but not big enough for a book.
Yeah, I don't think they have any like desire to put it in a book, but they literally like, if you want to play our Magic the Gathering races, this is their 5e stats kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So
there's different types of merfolk too.
Is it free to download?
I don't know. I had a friend that had them, so I was just like, hey, let me look through your books to see if they have anything. Because I originally found it on a website, and then I was like, dude, are these accurate? And they're just like, yeah. I'm like, sweet. All right, I'm Fishman now.
And that's pretty much it. That's so like, anyways, so next week or the following. I think we'll do this weekly, because I kind of want to do my other off days for other stuff I want to stream. Depending on we have a session or not. I'll talk about this on the off screen. So anyway, next up we'll touch upon races. So anyway, Edward, where can they find you?
Twitch.tv/Emerald Tusk, which again, I apparently haven't streamed anything since October. I want to get back into that, but a lot of the stuff I want to do is either I have to work on it or I want to mod it. But I have to talk with my brother about modding stuff, because he's better at it than I am. And Twitter @Emerald Tusk. I'm more active there, but not as much as I could be. So yeah.
And you can find me here at twitch.tv/Sakura. And be forewarned, this will be a part on episode 1 of multiple episodes on a session, because there's a lot to cover in DD5e, even though it's more simple. You can find me also on YouTube under Kitchen Sakura. Find me on Twitter on Kitchen underscore Sakura. If you'd like to support my channel and all my endeavors, go ahead and please click on my mask. It'll help me so very, very much. And if you like the channel while I do, go ahead and please go and give me a follow. And with that, let's see who's online right now. No one important. No one that knows me. Anyway, thank you guys for coming. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Later.